Hi, everybody. Welcome to Going Digital with Zoom Catalog. Our goal for this series is to highlight industry leaders and the digital transformation in the promotional product industry. We hope you find this interesting and valuable and that it'll help you grow your business in the long run. With that said, I'd like to introduce you to today's special guest, Hub Promotional Group's Marketing Director, Ben Pazzi. Hi, Ben. How are you?
Hi, I'm
Nice to
good,
have
thanks.
you.
How are you? Yeah.
Thanks for joining us today. To get started, can you just tell us a little bit about HPG and your role at the company?
So HPG is one of the top 10 suppliers in terms of revenue in the industry. We consist of 7 companies and about 10 brands. The best known is probably Hub, the pen company out east, but also Org Audio and Best and Beacon and most recently Web. And my role is the marketing director, so I've got to take care of all those brands and make sure people know what's coming out from each of them.
Nice. Yeah, so obviously there's Hub Pen and HPG, and I think it's been pretty clear the difference between two, but do you want to just speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, because it is a little bit confusing, but HPG is the parent company. Hub was the first acquisition by a private equity firm, and so they named the group Hub Promotional Group. But since then, they've been acquiring a number of other companies, and they're always looking for the next one. And we rebranded earlier this year to try and clear it up. So rather than refer to ourselves as Hub Promotional Group, we'll keep talking to us, introducing ourselves as HPG. Okay. And we dropped Pen off of Hub Pen and just call them Hub now. And the other reason for that is they're not just doing pens anymore.
Our focus for this series is going digital. So let's talk a little bit about that. How has HPG gone digital? How have things changed, not just this year, but in previous years?
The digital trend is inescapable, and people are expecting more and more rich experiences from websites. And I started in March last year, and we had brands at very different levels of, capabilities in the digital space. So my role has been trying to so Org Audio, for example, they were kind of very far ahead. So if you go to Org Audio promo site, you'll see 360 videos of all the products rotating. You'll see demo videos where Jason or someone from the team will kind of walk you through all of the features. And so the move to digital, in a sense, was like, how can you know everything about the product without actually holding it? Mm-hmm. And so we relaunched the Hub website late last year, and we sort of took the best practices from the Org Audio site and put that on Hub. So you'll see 360 videos of all of our pens. You'll see a little demo video of how the pens write and all the features called out. So so that's one way of thinking about digital from the supplier side, is like, how can you know everything there is to know and feel really confident about ordering that sample or pitching that product without actually holding it in your hands. And then when COVID hit, marketing really had to become more of a host for sales conversations. So our SVP of sales, Trina Bignell, she said, I want to do a virtual trade show. And I really didn't want to do another voiceover slide experience that we've all been through. It's pretty stale and never that engaging. So we spent some time looking at virtual platforms and came up with something that we're quite excited about, and seem to be getting a really good response, because we have a lot of real characters across in different accents and different ages, different everything. We have a really diverse sales team, and sort of put together an experience where you could see 2 speakers at once, see a bit of banter, and then throw in video assets that we've been producing all over the year. And and basically we became YouTubers as a company, and we added about 500 or 600 subscribers in a matter of months.
So is this content that's like on demand or streaming live? How, for a distributor watching, if they wanted to participate in this, how would they access it?
So it's we felt I'm personally passionate about doing things live, because it immediately feels more engaging because you're like, what's going to happen? Is someone going to mess up? You know, and that extra layer of alertness just makes it more likely they're going to remember stuff that's being talked about. And so initially we were doing these as partnerships with distributors to talk to just their kind of teams. And then we most recently have pivoted to, because the distributors were sort of really impressed, and they said, well, can you do this for our end users, our customers? So we've been now creating end user shows, which we have to be private and sort of hide our brand a little, because we want to make sure that the distributor is the one getting all the credit. So we'll have our team, even wear that distributor's brand and present to end users. So the new shows are private; you can't kind of jump in. But if there are any distributors watching, we'll be happy to partner with you guys and create some of these shows with you.
Yeah, that's brilliant. And speaking of that whole situation where distributors really want to be presenting your products as their own, it ties a lot into Zoom Catalog. You guys have obviously spent a lot of time and effort in building a suite of catalogs that are very different in terms of what companies they're for, but they're super, they look good. They look like they're from the same family. So that must have been quite a big undertaking to bring multiple marketing departments into one and have that consistent feel while still letting each stand alone by itself. You want to talk about that process a little bit?
Yeah. So we have some really talented creatives on the team, and we're a little bit anxious because, as you say, like these brands have their own marketing teams, and so when we started leaning in a little bit, some of the brands were delighted. They're like, we don't know how to do this, so take it. And there are others a little bit apprehensive, so we sort of had to earn their trust. It's worked out pretty well. And we essentially have centralized our marketing creative. We're not all in one building. There's a kind of cell up in Toronto, and a couple of designers sprinkled around the continent, but our home base is really in Danville, California, and we sort of set photography standards, we set creative direction, and the kind of nuance is finding a way for the quality for everything, for every brand to be at the same level, but the flavor or the style still be distinctive per brand, because we don't want to homogenize the whole thing. We've still got work to do there. We're still kind of working to give each brand their own look and feel. Yep. But it's been a fun process.
Yeah, it's an amazing resource for distributors. As you know, distributors can rebrand your catalogs, put their logo on, and I think it would be silly for a distributor to not take advantage of that. If they could take each of your catalogs, customize as their own, and display on their website, all that work and effort you guys have put into is now something they can share and represent as their own with their customers. So you guys have done an amazing job providing those resources to those distributors that are selling your products. And I'm sure everybody else has heard, I definitely have heard of Batch and Bodega, which sounds like your newest company to the family. I'd love to know a little bit about that company and how launching that company during this year was, if it was any different given the recent events.
Yeah, so this was Jason Lukash's brainchild. He wanted to get into the food market because he felt that, we've never had a promo food item that you really look forward to eating. And he's a bit of a foodie, and seeing all these amazing kind of small batch makers out there that, will obsess over making the best Rice Krispie treat or cracker cookie or something like that. It was like, well, what if we could tap into that somehow? So over the course of about 12 months, he was building partnerships and exclusivity agreements with some of the best treats you're ever going to get. It was really fun working in the office during that period and getting pulled in for taste tests. We soft launched it at PPAI at the beginning of this year just to see if anyone was interested, and we were kind of overwhelmed with the response. And so then it was kind of like, how fast can we get this live and in time for this year's holiday season? And then COVID hit, so we persevered, and it's a really interesting brand because we're not just selling food. We're pairing the food with promo items from all of our subsidiaries.
Right.
So it's a true kind of amalgam of what we're capable of.
Right. It's a brilliant concept, and bringing all the products together across your lines is even more brilliant. So it's exciting to see where it's headed. So Ben, you talk a lot about doing video for your product lines. Obviously, I'm sure you're producing videos for Batch and Bodega. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, that's been a really fun video project. We know that people want to. That a lot of videos are very functional, like show me the product in multiple dimensions or different angles, and show me demo videos of what the product is. But we're for Batch and Bodega, we're actually using it as a storytelling medium. So each of the food companies, is producing in the USA, has their own approach, a very niche passion for their food items. So pre-COVID, we were visiting the suppliers and sort of recording their story. So we've been releasing some of those. So for example, there was a pretzel company, Pennsylvania Dutch background, and very slow approach to food making. So we went out there and we released a 1 or 2 minute video that just talks about the food and the passion behind it. So that's like a completely new sales tool. It's like, you watch that video and at the end, I'll be surprised if you're not hankering for one of those pretzels. And so, that's a fresh approach, we think, to selling our product.
Yeah, totally new perspective. What else are we going to see from HPG, and any cool surprises coming down the pipeline that you are able to speak about?
Yeah, I mean, we know our role is just to empower the distributors. So if we're making stuff that we think looks good, but distributors aren't using it, then we're failing. We're not doing our job. So we're always looking at what the adoption of our content is, and Zoom is a great resource for that because you can actually see, how many people are looking or snipping or customizing our content. So really grateful for that as a feedback loop. So video is where we're focusing right now. It looks like COVID is going to be with us for at least most of the first half of next year. So how can we, again, create that experience without actually being able to hold all of these products all the time, is where we're focusing. And how can we create more tools to enable distributors to customize our content more quickly. So we know that speed is a very, very important part of this industry. Everyone wants their creative now, and the difference of 24 hours can mean losing the sale or not. So we're continuing to look at ways that we can come up with more creative tools so people feel like they're seeing something new and fresh and can get excited about it.
Cool. Yeah. So, I mean, we have to now start thinking how to conduct business online more than ever. I think that was naturally happening before COVID, but we're all there now. And I can't help but bring it back to your catalogs, because obviously we're in the catalog world. And again, looking at your catalogs, you guys have obviously put a lot of time, effort, and thought into the design, and they're quite unique when you look at your catalogs compared to other suppliers. So I was just curious how that happened. Like, did you guys really sit down and talk about how can our catalog digital experience differ from what we used to do from print, or are you printing what you're designing for digital?
Yeah, like this time last year, the focus was on the printed catalogs, and the digital piece was almost like an afterthought, So let's make this really nice to print, and then we'll just export to web. But for the mid-year, the holiday lookbooks, the thought was, well, this isn't going to get printed. So what advantages or opportunities does that create? So then the focus became, okay, this is going to be a highly visual, so that if anyone sees the image, they're going to have that double take. And also we added links on our pages, so because rather than pack every page with every imprint method and all of the little specifications, why not just put a little plus icon and take people to more information if they're interested. So it's something that all of the retail consumer facing brands have done very well. Like you can look at IKEA, you can look at some fashion brands, and they all sort of have this similar approach. And we're sort of, trying that within our space.
Yep. I love that. It's definitely, when you look at the trends that are happening for 2021 in the catalog space, it's really that thought process of what is this going to look like when somebody's viewing it on a phone? Because a lot of catalogs are being designed and not printed now. So you guys have, when we look at the list of trends that we see, you've done most of them. So I would say, again, you guys are ahead of the pack, and it's exciting to see what we're gonna see from you guys next. So that's a lot of information for us. I think the last question I would like to ask is just if you have any advice for suppliers or distributors that may be listening today in terms of going digital.
My advice to the rest of the industry would be to, rather than try and create a hybrid, or do what I was saying that we did last year, where it's just be print forward and digital as an afterthought. Now we kind of have to think print separate from digital. Like that, there are so many new technologies like Zoom enabling video within your catalogs. How can you design around that to make the most of it? I think that's it. And I would just say, like, you avoid video now at your peril. This is a macro trend. Everyone streamed something lately. It's not going away, and most of our content is going to be video, and already is in marketing. So yeah, I'd say if you haven't started yet, get into video.
Cool, great advice. Thank you so much. So I think that's it for today, and we really appreciate your time and for joining us, and we'll speak to you soon, Ben. Thanks so much.
Hey, Brandy.